or blues-inspired rock. Now, as a genre, that's very difficult to define because we could mean a lot of things, and in just a few short lessons we can't cover the whole spectrum of blues rock. You know, some people would define blues rock as Cream, Jimi Hendrix, free, kind of, you know, blurring into classic rock. More modern artists would be, of course, Bonamassa, Gov't Mule, the Black Crowes, even, you know, bands heavily influenced by blues, but playing what is essentially rock. And of course, rock gets its roots from blues, so it's really difficult to kind of blur the lines. I mean, what I did there with the backing track, it's a very 60s inspired backing track. It's not a 12 bar. That solo you heard was a 32 bar solo, I believe, quite a long solo. That was a complete improvisation. I wasn't entirely happy with it upon listening back, because there are a few little things that bugged me. The guitar was slightly out of tune for a start. It's a very hot day today, and I've just changed the strings and making excuses, but the guitar was slightly out of tune. But I tried to re-record it and recapture the vibe and just couldn't get anywhere near it. Couldn't really remember what I played, and it ended up being that what was initially improvised was kind of becoming a composition, and I didn't really want that kind of, you know, feel. I mean, it certainly lies more in the rock school of thought in terms of soloing than blues. I tried to keep the first half a lot more sparse when it came to phrasing, just shorter kind of 2-bar phrases and let it build. And then the second half, it's in the key of E, as you probably noticed. The second half I was, you know, up in 12th position and just playing more repeating phrases, which is a rock thing, and then there are a couple of kind of fast licks, but there was nothing outside of the blues tonality. I didn't approach it modally. There was no, although there was a fast kind of legato lick like that, that's within the blues scale. There was no I guess what you would define kind of whittle or shred. I mean, you know, I did try to keep it kind of, let's call it classic rock. I tried to keep it in a kind of classic rock vibe. So what we're going to do, we're going to learn that solo, some interesting licks in there that you can kind of throw into more, I'd say, of your rock playing. If you've come to this course, and I imagine a lot of people have, already playing rock and just wanting to add a blues influence and a blues flavour to your rock playing, then this is kind of where the two meet. And it's, again, still quite a conversational way to approach soloing, you know, thinking in terms of shorter phrases. So it should be useful for you in that respect. I'm going to break down the rhythm guitar part first. I'm just going to play over the bass and drums and just kind of demonstrate exactly what's going on there. It's fairly simple. So that was me just playing over the bass and drums. As you can see, making full use of this E7 sharp 9 chord, or the Jimi chord, or the Hendrix chord, as some people call it. That's essentially what I'm doing on the rhythm guitar part. I'm just kind of pedaling that shape. Again, just to refresh your memory, if you put your first finger on the 6th fret on the D string, second finger on the 7th fret on the A string, third finger on the 7th fret on the G string, and fourth finger on the 8th fret on the B. That's the shape, and we're kind of pedaling, going between the open E and then just the down up. As I hit that open E, I'm not actually pushing down on the chord. I mean, you can. Well, you can't actually, because the notes ring into each other, and that's not the desired effect. So after I hit it, I'm lifting the fingers off of the frets, but not off of the strings. So, and then just play this pure E minor pentatonic riff, and that's a grace note hammer from 5 to 7, and then back to 5 on the A, and then that's a grace note slide from 7 down to 5, and then to 3 on the low E, and then you grace note slide back up from 5 to 7 on the low E, and then open E. So, and that kind of goes back into the riff. So we have this 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the next fill, or the next part of the riff. Again, all E minor pentatonic, but we're in open position this time. So it's open A, hammer on to 2 on the A, open D, and then that's open A, hammer to 2, pull off to open, and then that's 3 on the E to open A. So if you put that together, that's your essentially what's your verse riff. 3, 4, and so that's 8 bars of that, and then we go into a chord progression that's very common in kind of blues rock, where we go to G, 3, 4, A, and then back to E. I mean, you hear that in Voodoo Child, you hear that in so many examples. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Slightly more modern example, Always on the Run by Lenny Kravitz. It's very common. I mean, it's essentially the tonality of a G major or a G7 to an A major or an A7. I mean, 7 chords are fine, but I mean we're just playing major, but we're doing a few little twiddles. So it's this shape here. So it's, I mean, you can play a straight G bar chord like that, but what I'm doing, I'm playing the top part of the bar chord essentially. So barring across the top 2 strings on the 3rd fret, and then second finger on the 4th fret on the 3rd string, 3rd finger on the 5th fret on the 4th string, thumb over the top of the neck, fretting that G note on the 3rd fret, fleshy part of the thumb, muting out the A string. It's a nice full chord, and I'm going so the kind of Hendrixy, kind of rhythm and bluesy type fill. So it's a double stop kind of thing. It's we've kind of had a similar thing before. So you keep that partial bar and you go. That's a grace note hammer to 5 on the B string, and then back off. So and then it's a little twiddle. So that would be you keep your 4th finger on the 4th fret on the 3rd string. And then you do a little hammer onto 5 and then pull off, and then hit 5 on the D string. So, and you can have other strings ringing out there. So it's quite a casual, you know, kind of lazy kind of feel. 3 and 4. So we do the same thing for the A, but we take it up 2 frets. Back into our riff. Same thing again. So there's a turnaround at the end, the last 2 bars. It's a 16 bar sequence. Back to the 1 chord at E7 sharp 9. 1. And then our 5 chord at the end, which is, in this case is a B7 sharp 9, which we've had before. And you just kind of let that ring, this drum fill, and it goes into the sequence again. So that's the whole thing, that's the whole 16 bar sequence. And for the solo, I played twice around that sequence, making 32 bars. If you've ever wanted to play the blues with all the emotion of your favourite guitarists, or if you're keen to join in a jam night and just need a bit more confidence, Absolute Blues Guitar has you covered. We offer an immersive course, and whether you're a beginner or an experienced player, we're committed to making an authentic blues guitarist out of you. Everything we teach is broken down note for note, written out in tab and standard notation, and accompanied by high quality backing tracks. We give you all the tools you need to play classic blues and beyond. There really is nothing missing. So I hope you enjoyed this preview. Give it a like if you liked it. Hit subscribe, and don't forget to go over to absolutebluesguitar.com where you can start learning some serious blues.